happy to be here. And I think this is my first time to Brazil, and it's also my first time to talk about this topic, like Chinese economy. Well, I think it's a very broad topic. So every expert will have his own selection on invest on the different aspects about the Chinese economy. When I was required to talk about the Chinese economy, my first reaction is I can just focus on the inequality. Because in the past 50 years, my research mainly focused on inequality. But if you conduct inequality research, you will realize that inequality research always only reveals the problems of the society. So you can't find any achievement, especially for China, the society like China. So today, so finally, I choose growth and inequality. So before that, I can show you a picture. A figure like So in this figure, I put the GDP index from during the whole economic transition, and the Gini coefficient, put them together. So although that there are two quite different indicators, but from this figure you can see the same, almost the same, quite similar trend. That means in the past 4 decades, in the past 4 decades, the GDP grows fast in China, but it's always accompanied with inequality, increasing in the Gini coefficient. So I think this trend line also provides two stabilizing effects about the Chinese economy. I think it's also maybe quite similar with other countries like BRICS. So today, my outline includes 4 words: reform, growth, structure, and inequality. For the reform, because all the inequality, the growth, both the economic growth and the inequality originated from the reform initiated the end of 1970s. So first, I will briefly introduce some information about the reform. And here I just mentioned some key points, and actually the reform I will mention in the later slides. So in China, the economic reform initiated 1978, which means we call it Asia-Pacific area. So this picture shows the design of the economic reform. In this year, the Chinese Communist Party held the 11th Congress and third plenary session, and established the economic development as the dominant target of the social society. And for this reform, actually, for a long time, we didn't have a very good blueprint, but solve the problem in a greater pace. So before the reform, the Chinese economy always have a very similar characters with Russia. So the Chinese economy maybe have the similar problems with Russia, but they solve it in a different way. This reform started in the rural sector. So in the rural sector, in the old system, there is a collective economy with no individual property rights and responsibilities. So such system results in a number of problems. The main problem is we can't afford the people, the real people. And so the poverty is very popular. So here I put two pictures. The first one is the farmers, household head in a village. They initiate the reform on land ownership. And the second one, and this one, is the send guarantee within themselves. So the main content is if some of them was sent into the prison, for the others will raise up their kids up to 18 years old. Because what they have done is, before that, the land was collectively owned, and also cultivate collectively, and then they just allotted the land based on the households. But this reform recognized and gets permission by the high level administrative system. So in the past, so such reform was expanded in the later 5 years, and you can see in 1984, almost all the country, all the rural part adopted what we call household contract responsibility system. So that's the standpoint of the economic reform in China. And then I will, you can see the two stages of the economic reform in 1980s and the 1990s. And this table actually is generated by Larry Norton in 2007 in his book. I think everybody knows this book very well. For these two periods of reform, they are quite different in many aspects. The first one is, you can see, in the first period, the measures were taking cautious and consensual. But in the later one, in the later period, the economic reform actually is taken in a more rapid way, and is many more personalized decision making. And in the fourth period, the market mechanism introduced, and also the government tried the possibility on the introduction of market mechanism. But in the second period, this institution is heavily strengthened. So, at the initial stage of the reform, there is also a very important policy we call dual track strategy. So dual track strategy is mainly exists in the present system, but it solves some problem for the economic transition. But it means for the price, we have two systems. One is a planned price, and another is a market price. And this price, generally, the market price is much higher than the planned price. So it solves the problem, means it makes the reform executed in a smooth way, because they keep the interest group, some interest group, unaffected by such reform. The problem is, if we can see, it's possible to generate corruption. So, I think the most important characters in the first period of reform is that in this period the reform without loser, but in the second period the reform always losers, especially in the state-owned enterprises restructuring. So. I think during the 1990s, the main element of the market economy in China had been established. So, and during the transition, I think the most important issue can be just like this one. So. The first is at the beginning of the 1980s, the reform initiated, and then they adopted the dual track press system. And in 1992, by Deng's Keynote Speeches, so the government established the target as socialist market economic system, and in later 1990s, there are a number of radical economic reform measures were adopted, such as SOE reform and marketization on housing and healthcare and so on. So I think this is the main point on the economic transition. And then move to the growth part. For the growth, first I show you some pictures. The first one is the comparison on Shenzhen. So the left picture is about Shenzhen about 40 years ago. At that time, it's only a small fishing village with about 30 households. And the red one is the Shenzhen about in today. So you can see only the distribution of the rivers are almost the same, but all the buildings on the land changed completely. So another picture is about the Shanghai, Pudong. Pudong is part of the Shanghai, not all the Shanghai. So you also can see the 3 pictures from about every 10 years. And I think it's also changed a lot within every 10 years. So for these cities, you can see there are great changes in China. So in the January, the growth can be just mentioned in this way by the GDP and the GDP per capita provided by the government. Although there are many suspects on the GDP indicator statistics, but today we have to accept these results. And from this figure, we can see actually the economic growth continues persistent, especially since the 1990s. So, even compared with other countries like US, so generate this figure by the statistics from the World Bank. So here the national GDP is measured by the US dollar or the international dollar. And then in this figure we compare, take the ratio of China's GDP to the US. So you also can see the growth trend, especially since during the economic transition period. And even compared with, even in the view of the relative GDP per capita, we also can see the similar trend. So this is about the economic growth, and in this video we report the Chinese real GDP growth rate since 1978. You can see the growth rate in most years is really high, but we also can notice that since 2008-2007. The growth rate or declined persistent. So this is about we just report the GDP growth in the past 4 decades. Actually, the economic growth is not only reflected in the GDP growth, but also in the poverty reduction. So, for the poverty reduction, we also can see both the poor population and the poverty incidence declined consistent during this period. So here we just report the poverty in cities based on the poverty line provided by the government. The government increased the poverty line to just use the 3 poverty lines in 1978 and 2008 and 2010. So nowadays we just the government applied the poverty line in 2010. It's a little bit it's higher than the one US dollar per day, and in last year the poverty incidence is about 3% to the total rural population. So maybe some of you heard about that the Chinese government's statement about the poverty reduction to eradicate the absolute poverty before 2020. If the poverty measured by the international poverty line, just like here we report also the World Bank report 3 poverty line like $1 per day and $2 per day and $5 per day. We also can see the poverty incidence declined sharply. So and then move to the structure section. So in the structure part, we'll provide the information about rural-urban division and urbanization, and the industrial structure, and the aggregate demand structure, ownership, and the population and openness. So first of all, the urban rural division is in the China segregated by the household register system in a long time, what we call a hukou. So this system is sourced from the blended economy for the purpose of industrialization, which means for the individual, when you were born, you have been classified as agricultural household or non-agricultural household. It's similar as urban and rural, but it's different. It also has some difference between the urban and rural division. So with the different hukou, without the different registration type, they will have different will result in different job opportunities and social security and so on. So this system generates large urban-rural income ratio, and the urban-rural income ratio also fluctuate during this period, but generally it's really higher. So this figure reports the urban-rural income ratio. So you can see it's fluctuated during different periods. At the first period, maybe before the 1980, the income ratio declined because during this period, the economic reform may occurred in rural part. So the income for the rural residents increased faster than the urban residents. But in most years, this ratio increased until 2008. But all the time, this ratio is really high. We once conduct international comparison. Such income ratio is higher than most of other countries. And so, although there is a large urban-rural income ratio because of urban segregation, the urbanization is also increased sharply during the economic transition. So, the urbanization means the declining proportion of the rural population, and it also means the declining population proportion of the agricultural employment. And so the urbanization mainly derived from two processes: migration and urbanization of the communities. So migration means the rural people move into the urban, and the urbanization means some rural area convert to urban area. So for the migration, in China it's quite different from other countries. I think it's more like what we call a guesswork system. So guesswork system. Guesswork is was occurred in Eastern Europe. So it means the work in the get job in the advanced areas, but they can't move. Their family can't move with him. So in China, we also occur such a situation. For the rural laborers, they can live in the farm sector, and they also large scale on the guesswork. And in this here we report the size of such kind of migration. It amounts to about 50% of the whole population. Such kind of migration also results in two problems. The first one is left behind the children in the rural China. So because these children can't move into the rural in the urban sector, they can't be educated in the city, so they have to be left behind. And the second problem is about the property right on land. Even today, the property right of land is collectively owned, but the household have the rights to use it. So there is separation on this on the rights, but these rights can't be traded, can't be and so it will contract with the trend with migration. Another structure for the industrial structure, it can be reflected in two ways: by employment and by the GDP composition. So here we illustrate the industrial structure by employment. So in this figure we can see they implement share over the primary sector declined dramatically. In the initial stage of the economic of the reform, you can say about 7% people employed in the primary sector, but nowadays it's down to less than 30%. And for the third sector, industrial employment increased, but it still is not so high. And for the GDP composition, so it's almost tell the similar story. The share of the primary sector declined, while the proportion of the third industrial increased. For the industrial structure, so the basic information is the agriculture sector shrinking, mainly because of the reform and because of the household responsibility system and the increase the productivity in the agriculture sector. And I'll skip this one. And for the rural reform, or the rising productivity in the agriculture, so increase the household income in rural, and also result in the poverty reduction in rural China. And for the industrial organization, another significant change is about the industrial enterprises transition. So at different, it's mainly related to the SOE reform, but in different periods they have different emphasis, focus on the different issue, and the SOE reform exists on the whole economic transition. So the structure change within the second industrial. So in the 1980s, so the many the main purpose is about the make up on the payback industrial realization, and they are fast growing sector, typically light and labor intensive manufacturing. Since 1995, the industrial dipping and the traditional light industrial products declined dramatically, and the demand for material and energy surged. During this period, the unemployment also and the layoff also increased, and the labor market became tough. So later on, they start the reform, starting with what we call creating cooperations, become more competition, and a number of complementary institutional reforms are adopted. So for the industrial structure, the services industrial in China increased, but is still underdeveloped. By the end of 2017, the service industry occupied only about half of all the GDP, but it's much lower than in the high income countries. And for the underdeveloped, of the service industry, mainly because of there are a number of reasons. So one of the reasons is because that the restriction on the large cities. Because for the services, in the large cities there will be more demanding. But in China, we also have some restrictions on large cities because of the provision on the public goods. And another reason is about the result from the investment incentive of the local government. So in most cases, the local government has strong incentive, investment incentive in the manufacturing and so on. So, but we know the service sector is needed in the economic it is important. So, and it also will change the industrial structure in the future. So, for the aggregate demand structure, so I think this information can be found in a textbook about macroeconomics. So here I will just report the GDP composition in the aggregate demand side. So the red line indicates the household composition, consumption, and the blue one is the government consumption. So we can see the household consumption amount to decline proportion of the GDP, while the capital formation, the proportion of the capital formation increase. So for the demand side, the GDP growth mainly driven by the capital formation, as some scholars mentioned. For the macroeconomic structure, so especially for the investment part, the investment we just have seen that the investment play a crucial role in economic growth in China. So this mainly because of the incentive schemes of the local government, and because of the physical decentralization and the regional competition. So they have a strong investment incentive because more investment means there are more tax base and the more possibility for the GDP growth and then for the promotion. So in China, the active government engagement is one of the reasons for the high economic growth rate, and especially for the investment of infrastructure. So for this system or this structure, it both has advantages and disadvantages. So for the advantages means the high ability and flexibility of the encourage and user saving, and so to stabilize the economy. And but it also have the downside, which means we always suspect the economic growth if it's sustainable or potential about the debt risk. So and about ownership structure, I think it's really correlated with what we call the transition economy. So I will skip the change procedure, but just show you this figure that the employment in the state-owned sector actually declined dramatically, and nowadays, and today, they only about 60% of the employment employed in the state-owned sector. For the population structure, maybe some of you knows that in the past decades, the China executed a very strict one-child policy. So this policy changed the demographic structure. It means the growth rate declined sharply, and the natural growth rate of the people of the population also declined. And for the structure, it means the dependence ratio for the young kids the proportion for the young kids declined, and the proportion for the older people here means older than 75 years old increase persistent, and which also result in the change in the dependence ratio. So older dependence ratio increased, and the children dependence declined, which means the potential labor supply will be on the shortage. The last one on the structure is about the openness. So the openness and here we report the proportion of the international trade dependence and the export the ratio of export to GDP. So we can see from after the 2002, on which year the China entered into the WTO, and both these two ratios increased until 2007 and then declined. And for for the international trade, but for the foreign investment, both in direct investment, inward foreign investment, and the outward foreign direct investment increased. And in 1990s, the China is many inward direct foreign investment country. However, about 2030, the outward foreign direct investment is higher than the inward direct foreign investment. So what I just mentioned about the growth and the structure change in China. And then we will move to the inequality issue. So the general picture about the inequality change is we can characterize retreat from an equal society. So I don't know, both income and the wealth distribution are very unequal. I think which is also the common feature in BRICS. And inequality increased dramatically. And the Gini coefficient of income hovers 0. Hovers on a high level since 2008. For the last one is for the wealth inequality, mainly because comes from the housing value contribution. So, but for the last point, I haven't provided detailed slides about that. In the initial stage of the economic reform, China is a really equal distributed society. So in this table, we provide two tables. The first one is about the income Gini at the end of 1970s. Both the urban rural inequality and the national inequality are really low, especially at least compared with some other Asian countries. For other countries, the Gini coefficient is always much higher than that in China. But we can see from this figure we can see by different sources of the inequality measures that tell the same story. Increase persistent during the economic transition. In this figure, we provide 4 sources of the estimated Gini coefficient, like World Bank and Revenue and ambiance. So for the 2 lines, for the wider, they just collect all the estimated Gini coefficient from the literature. So they don't provide the database. And the World Bank also report some years, the Gini coefficient for some years. For these 2 lines, actually, they come from the same data sources. Both Reverse and Chen, they use also to calculate the Gini coefficient based on the household survey conducted by NBS, National Bureau of Statistics in China. So this line can be considered as the estimated Gini coefficient based on the official data. So we can see it's increased consistently until 2008. In that year, the highest Gini coefficient is about 0.49. But there are also some other estimates on income Gini. So here is about the about 2010. many other data sets provide their estimates on income Gini. So this results, this Gini coefficient, estimated Gini coefficient, generally much higher than the NBS. Is already much higher than 0.54 or 53 or 54. So it means inequality. Maybe they have different measure on inequalities, but they tell the same conclusion that inequality is really high. And not only the inequality occur in income, but also the wealth inequality is the wealth inequality become more and more important. So this figure will provide information about share of the wealth owned by the top 10. The three columns with color indicates the China state in different years. So in 2002, so in these countries, China is ranked on the bottom of this in this figure. But in 2016, it moved upward, and moved upward in a great deal. So if we measure the inequality, compare the income and wealth inequality, we can see here we provide the two data sources in China. China Household Income Project and CLPS conducted in Beijing University. So we can from here we can see since 2002, the income inequality, the wealth inequality is much higher than the income inequality. But generally, the income inequality should be is much lower than the wealth inequality. So the wealth inequality actually, as we know, there is accumulated income inequality. So it means in the past 4 decades, the income inequality generates its persistent results on inequality trend. So inequality, as we just said, the China is segregated in urban and rural system. So for the inequality, we also consider inequality according to the urban and rural division. So the inequality within urban and rural is also both of them increased consistent. Here we plot the rural and urban Gini coefficient from since 1978. And for the inequality, national inequality is mainly contributed by the urban and rural inequality. So here we report the type decomposition. In inequality research, the type decomposition can decompose the whole inequality into within and between inequality. The between inequality measures the open rural inequality and their contribution. So here, you can see from by the chip data, we can see from in the first four waves, the open rural inequality increase persistent. So why the last 2 years, from 2007 to 2013, the contribution of the rural open inequality declined. I will talk about this issue the day after tomorrow. So here we can conclude that the inequality increased persistent, and the national inequality mainly driven by the open and rural inequality. For inequality, we always question as is driven by the market mechanism or redistribution effects. So when we talk about the inequality, we mainly refers to the inequality of the disposable income. So for the disposable income, it can be generated in this way, like based on the market income, and then we the transfer income into the market income, and then minus the personal tax. So we can say the difference between total inequality between disposable income and the market income will reflect the redistribution effects of the transport system and the tax system. By our research, we found the personal tax contributes very, very low on the redistribution effects. And in China, the Gini reduced only 0.1 by personal tax, much lower than other countries. But the income redistribution depends on the transport income, which is also much lower in China than in other countries. For the transport income, mainly from the social programs like pension, like other social insurance. So in China, such programs always segregate among the workers and individuals. But however, the transfer income and the personal income can change the trend of the inequality. And always the inequality we based on this income concept generate the same trend. So I show you. So we can see from this figure. Here we report the Gini coefficient. The green line indicates the Gini coefficient in China. So another three lines indicates the Gini coefficient in the United States based on the market income and before tax income and after tax income. So here we can, from this figure, we can see the redistributive effects of transfer income is much higher than that of the personal tax, and neither of them changes the trend of inequality. So, and if we separate the income, several income by the components and we generate the effects on inequality by market mechanism and redistribution mechanism we can see. We also provide the comparison with China and the US at the same year on the distributive effects of the income distribution. So we can say the inequality of the market income is higher for the United States, but the distributive effects of the public transport income and personal tax on income inequality are much lower in China. For inequality, we paid much attention on inequality, but for the inner structure of inequality, the bottom or top inequality is always ignored. So here we first report the conclusion, the results that the inequality was driven by both bottom inequality and top inequality. And the bottom inequality was usually much more subtle than the top inequality in China. So what the top bottom inequality and the top inequality. So if we take this one as the whole income distribution, so the bottom inequality means the difference between the median and the 10% percentile income, and the top inequality means the 90% income, the difference between 90% income and the median. So, if we measure them this way, we can see that the inequality at bottom or top of the income distribution can be described by this figure. Also, the increase persistent, and the bottom inequality was even higher than the top inequality. So, for comparison, we also can have a look about the US case. But since here we just compare this to society because I'm accessible to the US data. I'm not sure how about the bottom and the top inequality in other countries. But from this figure you can see the top inequality increased and dominated the trend of the whole inequality, while the bottom inequality kept rather stable in the United States. So here we conclude what we have just mentioned in these slides. So we can see the Chinese economy is market-oriented and gradually advanced reform and persistent economic growth and poverty reduction. And there are also structural changes during the past decades, like urbanization and decreasing, relatively decreasing in agriculture and increasing in tertiary sector, and we also can see the privatization and aging population of the economy. And for the inequality, we can see the high inequality both in income and wealth, and the inequality many report generated by the urban-rural segregation, and also there are some special features on the
according to the structure. So that's all. Thank you.